I don't know about you, Ash, but I'm actually really excited to be testing this new MI21 Navara, which somewhat surprises me because, well, it's pretty much the same Navara underneath the skin that we already know. However, obviously this facelift is a reasonably big deal for Navara. This Pro-4X in particular, all new flagship model, it's going to be really appealing to a lot of people after that more lifestyle ute, going out on the weekends, going forward driving, and that's everything that we're doing today to really give this a good test, see how far off it can go.
Hang on, before you get it dirty, before you bloody destroy this, let's have a look around. What's new?
Very good point. Well, the Navara range has actually been updated with a new look for 2021, and it's not about drag, coefficients and sleek design, it's about being a tougher ute work truck. Starts at the front. We have new headlights, LEDs here in the Pro-4X and the STX and the upper grades. Also have new DRLs with that C and reverse C look, which just looks quite nice and striking. We're moving more to the Pro-4X, which is a flagship. A lot of blacked out parts, you know, red highlights, the red Nissan badge, and this grille's actually wider, bigger, a bit more bluff. Same with the bonnet, bit more bluff, bit more tough. And then if we move down the side of the vehicle, we also see the unique black alloys, the tyres, which we're yet to test, and we'll see how they run off-road. They're a balance of on-road and off-road performance because this car is a balance of on-road urban duties and then off-roading on the weekend when you want to. Black sports bar, pretty solid unit, and then of course the prerequisite Pro-4X sticker. It's not going to peel off after 5 years. That's right in there nice and solid. Also, this rear bumper has a lower side step, so it's easier to step up, which is a good thing because the tray itself, that's actually a little bit taller. You have more capacity inside, and the tailgate's actually a little lighter, easier to open. Simple fix, it's just a rod under tension where the hinge joint is. So that's a really easy, quick win for Nissan there. But also really like these cargo rails, just for adjusting if you have a different load, like if you have a fridge, air ski, different boxes, or your camping gear, whatever you're taking, you can set up a few different organisational ropes and snatch straps. We also have 4 tie down points just at the rear and at the front, but there is no 12-volt point or obvious power point in the rear at all, so you'd need to put one of those in yourself or run a cable through the rear electric opening screen if you need to get power into the tray. So underneath, the updated Navara is actually very similar to before. It's the same drivetrain, so it's a 2.3 litre diesel twin turbo 4-cylinder, and that produces 140 kilowatts and 450 newton meters of torque, and that all goes through a 7-speed automatic transmission or a 6-speed manual, which you can also get even in this Pro-4X flagship model. Goes pretty well towing. We've already tested the STX with a load in the back, laden and towing, you know, and it was pretty fine for the amount of weight that it had to carry, so we're not really too fussed with that. Could they have bumped up the power? Maybe a little bit, you know, just to rival that 2-litre in the Ford and also the Toyota Hilux. We're just in 4 high, diff locks on. We're just going to hit this slope here. This is pretty steep, not too wet underneath at all. Once we get up towards the top of this, that's when we start to get a bit more gradient. It really comes on a bit and it gets looser as well. Out of power, nut, foot down, there we go, no worries. Now I've got a fair bit of mud in these tyres. They would have got flicked out already. That was easy, I have to say. So we got a bit steeper, a little bit looser. Power dropped a bit, just put the foot in. That was quite easy. All right, so we'll use hill descent control now. All right, so heading back down the same hill, engaging hill descent control in 4 high, and just break it down to a slow speed. Easy, feet completely off the pedals. Really good traction. Not getting a whole heap of work through the brake system there in terms of allowed intrusiveness. It's working, no sweat. You gotta love the new hill descent control systems. I mean, they pretty much all do it so well, some better than others. This is a good system. It makes it really easy when you're off-roading and you don't want to be locking up and making the wrong decisions coming down a hill. That was simple. Well, that was quite easy. Actually, plenty of traction, easy up and easy down. So we're going to try something. It's definitely going to be a bit more challenging on this 60-degree gradient. Go, bit of speed, no worries. Overcome that traction with momentum. Well, that was pretty good. Very happy with that result. Just that little bit of extra traction though. Tyres providing a really good blend of performance. You know, it's not like you have to go super aggressive when you're going off-road. When it gets really muddy, you do. We'll probably find that out a bit more when we get into the stickier mud, of course, here. But we've been through a bit so far, and it's not horrendous. Actually, we're hitting a little bit of a patch now, and yeah, give it a bit more stick, and we'll see what's up here. Whoa, yeah, a little slippery. There we go. I think before we go over, we might just might have a look at that. Looks a little bit steep. Yeah, that's a little bit of a cliff, and that's the only thing. Of course, this hasn't been raised in ride height, so the clearances and departure angles, ramp overs, all pretty relatively the same. Would probably rip the front bumper off, and Nissan wouldn't be too happy if we had a crack at that one, so we'll back out of it. But what I wanted to actually show you is the camera system. So you've got 360-degree cameras, and they're using the cameras also individually, so you can help when you're off-roading if you just need to see down the left-hand side, so we can have a look there. It just helps getting back out and moving around. And it still has the same 600 millimeters of wading depth as well. So that's reasonably deep water that you can get through when you're river crossing. Of course, just check how deep it is before you jump in. But absolutely no problems otherwise, as long as it's not too muddy on the bottom. You should definitely have enough traction. Well, Ash, that was pretty surprising actually.
Yeah, it was.
That worked out really well. It's certainly a lot messier and muddier than when we started, but it did a really good job.
It did a great job. I can't believe that it actually did certain things that the recovery vehicle couldn't do. It got through river crossings, big puddles. We're talking about some articulated surfaces that really were tough. And with the tyres this thing has on, I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too. It did a great job. At the end there, in it's starting to rain, there was a really big muddy puddle. Got more than halfway through in this. I thought it might have been stuck, backed it out. It was fine. You did get through that. That was probably the key difference, really, wasn't it? It's just
absolutely.
the tyres.
It went in a lot of places, but imagine, these tyres, they did a great job, but if you lowered the pressure, had a compressor on board to bring it back up, I reckon you could do more. I reckon you might even be able to do the crossing that we failed on.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think that might be just the next episode for us. Might have to take this on some sand and do another adventure.
Sounds good to me, mate.
Cheers.